Midsommar, Ari Aster's brilliant and disturbing sophomore film, is one of the most discussed and analyzed movies of the past decade. It's a polarizing story, primarily because of how effectively the 2019 movie conjures a wide range of emotions as the audience follows Danny's, Florence Pugh, harrowing journey at a midsummer festival in a remote Swedish village. The film works not only as a disturbing horror movie with Midsommar's scary sequences that are burned into my memory for life, but also as an exploration of grief, toxic relationships, and how they can affect a person's psyche. Midsommar is also a film that invites a wide range of interpretations and conflicting thoughts about its meaning. One of the most interesting discussions about the film online has centered around the "good for her" meme, which gained popularity on Twitter in 2020 and then exploded on Letterboxd. The phrase "good for her" comes from an episode of Arrested Development and celebrates films where a woman overcomes a tumultuous experience but ultimately gains the upper hand and triumphs. Personally, I think Midsommar is the best example of a good for her movie, though others, including the film's star, might disagree. Midsommar's ending proves why it's the ultimate good for her movie. Danny ends the film with a smile and finally feels a little relief. Many of the good for her films often brought up in discussions revolve around revenge. These are movies where characters are wronged or abused and spend the majority of the film seeking retribution for those who caused them harm. Films like Gone Girl, Kill Bill, The Invisible Man, and Us are commonly cited in various lists on the topic. While those movies certainly count as good for her films, what is most interesting about Midsommar is that, despite its numerous killings and characters getting their comeuppance, I don't think anyone would classify it as part of the revenge genre. For me, Midsommar is all about the emotional journey Danny takes throughout the film. I don't think I've ever felt such deep sympathy for a character and desperately hoped for some sort of relief for them. The film begins with Danny's boyfriend, Christian, Jack Raynor, complaining about their relationship to his friends and essentially wanting to break up with her. The viewer already feels horrible for Danny before learning that her immediate family all died in a horrific murder-suicide. If only that was the worst thing to happen to Danny. Over the next 2 hours, while still grieving for her family, Danny is continuously gaslit by her boyfriend, reluctantly attends a bizarre festival at a murderous commune, gets drugged, witnesses multiple Midsommar deaths, and experiences a series of unimaginable horrors. At times, it's torturous to watch one awful thing after another happen to this poor young woman, but in the final moments of Midsommar, when Danny chooses to sacrifice her terrible boyfriend and watches as he is stuffed into a disemboweled bear's body and burned inside a temple, she finally smiles for the first time in the film. I felt an overwhelming sense of satisfaction as Danny, whom I empathized with so deeply, finally got a little relief and felt somewhat at peace, despite what bizarre things might befall her next. Ari Aster's comments about the film's meaning confirm it's a good for her movie. The filmmaker set out to make the ultimate breakup movie. Florence Pugh as Danny sits at a table with Christian and the Haga cult in Midsommar. Ari Aster has been very vocal that he sees Midsommar as a breakup movie. The filmmaker had recently gone through a failed relationship when he wrote Midsommar and wanted to channel those feelings he was experiencing. Via Variety, viewing the film through this lens definitely helps make the case that Midsommar is the ultimate good for her movie. In many relationships, couples refuse to break up because they are afraid of the consequences and of being alone. People would rather stay with someone they know isn't right for them than face the unknown or upend their life. For Danny, who is experiencing extreme grief in the horror movie and literally has no family left, she would rather go down the path of staying with Christian and being manipulated by this murderous cult than experience any more loss. The film's ending finally allows her the choice of getting rid of the baggage that is dragging her life down. Florence Pugh's interpretation of Midsommar contradicts Ari Aster's intention. The actress sees the film very differently than the director. Florence Pugh looking into a mirror in shock in Midsommar. Florence Pugh was asked about Midsommar's ending, and her opinion diverges completely from Ari Aster's intention. While Pugh's thoughts are entirely valid and actually align with those of many fans, she definitely wouldn't consider Midsommar a good for her film. She sees the story as a descent into madness, and she interprets the final moments, along with her character's eerie smile, not as a sign of peace or relief, but as confirmation that Danny has suffered a complete psychotic break. In a Wired interview for her film We Live in Time, Pugh had the following to say.